Wow, that was such an experience. Indescribable indeed. With all that, it gives me a reason to go all the way to Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa, to hang out with Daniel Getachew, who is the brain behind content creation for virtual reality. Come with me. This kind of craft is not your everyday lingo, but it's exciting to say the least. The world of virtual reality is not very new, but a fascinating innovation that gets everyone who experiences it wants more and more. To this Ethiopian software developer Daniel Getachew, his inspiration for VR was inspired by the need to preserve over 100-year-old of Ethiopian heritage. The story of what's now known as the Battle of Adwa, in which Ethiopian fighters defeated Italian forces in historical war. Welcome to Traktion. My name is Pasil Telewa. We head all the way to Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa, to find out about the reason behind this specific initiative by the founder and CEO of Guzo Technologies, Daniel Ghettachu, on the digitization of the country's richest culture. I hope you enjoy the show.
Born and raised in Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa, Daniel Getachew is a full-stack developer, meaning he develops both client and server software. He won 5 national ICT innovation competitions since he was a student. He even got international recognition by winning a global competition with his iHelp Framework mobile app. But what caught Traktion's attention was his role in creating an immersive virtual reality user experience on what is known as the Battle of Adwa, where Ethiopian forces defeated the Italian forces' invasion over 126 years ago. Daniel, together with his team, is determined to see future generations have their own African heroes. And by digitally preserving Africa's historic sites, the engineers want future generations to learn about their culture and have their own heroes in a fun way. And now, let's explore the story of this young man, Daniel Getachew, the founder and CEO of Guzo Technologies based in Addis, Ethiopia, for more.
Nice to meet you. Tell us what's your name.
Nice to meet you too. My name is Daniel Getachew, and I'm the founder and CEO of Guzo Technologies.
Daniel, I'm so impressed about what Guzo Technologies is doing. Perhaps to someone who doesn't understand, when did the idea of virtual reality come to be? When did you think about it?
It will take us back to maybe 5-6 years, which I was in college. So I think there was like this news during that time. And there are a lot of terrorist attacks, and they are ruining historical artifacts, heritage, and that's where I just like, okay, what kind of technologies would save this kind of ancient and like important heritage, especially when you come to Africa, where we have all those different kinds of historical heritage sites. And luckily, I found out the Google Street View technology, so it lets you like to visit places in 360 environment. It could be videos or photos. Mm-hmm. So I just submitted as my capstone project, as a final project to my bachelor's degree, and through time, now it's 3 years and almost 5 months to be exact, we established the company, and it's basically we implement the power of virtual reality in the tourism sector, and we power all artifacts and the heritage sites all over, not only limited to Ethiopia, but we are looking to make this digitalization of all these historical sites in VR.
What made you think about, the historical aspect of it, and why didn't you think about, the modern Ethiopia, because you're a young person?
Well, I think there are a lot of factors to this, because the first one is there is no protection that we know as of today, to keep our history and to pass it to the future generation. So if you think of the current generation, we like entertainment, we like gaming, and we have to associate our history with the power of gaming and put it in a immersive way so that people will love to see and visit those historical destinations, and that will have a positive impact. The youth will understand their ancient stories and also their ancestors and their history, so they will have they have more reason to get proud. So we are creating that platform. And the other one is there are a lot of instabilities in Africa. I mean, due to political factor, it could be climate factor. So if we lose all these historical heritage sites and all these artifacts, we don't just get them again. So why not we replicate those things in VR and let others to visit all these places or all these artifacts? You can name anything. So that's why we specifically want to focus on the tourism side. And the third reason might be we are rich in history, and we don't even know that actually. I mean, especially all the youth who lives in the urban areas, they are missed out of all these things, and we admire foreign technologies, foreign cultures, and as an African, I think
we forget our own.
Yeah.
How do you get the content?
Most of the time we just physically go there, we have a team, so we study about the place and how we can incorporate that into virtual reality. But when you come to the story side, we collaboratively work with historians. So it could be professors in university or well-known historians in the country. So we work along with all these people. Yeah.
What did you study in campus?
Yeah, my bachelor's degree, it's in computer science, and I had my master's in software engineering. I'm about to pursue my PhD this year. Yeah.
Congratulations. So it's a team of, software engineers. I heard you mention about the project manager.
Yeah.
Tell me about how big your team is.
So my team, when we established the company, we were not that much. And I had my partner who is he's also an architect. His name is Binia. So he is the creative director, and also he sees all the creative aspect of the project. So I am from the technical side. So if we are going to design any VR content, he is the one responsible in designing the 3D and also all the scaling, the environment. We call it the level design. So it's basically we are creating games, but they should be realistically to be kept in VR space. So I'm working on the technical aspect of the VR, maybe architecting how we can incorporate other technologies to the VR world. It could be our own hardware gadgets, because we also prototype electronic equipment gadgets, which works with the VR. And I think we're also pioneering this kind of ideas in Africa, and we do that currently. Maybe let's say around 11 team members. Most of them are technical and young graduates, and we have almost female project managers throughout the year. In most of our projects, we hire project managers, and luckily they are females and they are so talented. And it's
So how do you monetize this creativity?
That's the difficult question, because VR is not ready in Africa. A lot of people consider VR as a luxury thing, so we have to give awareness how the technology itself is impacting maybe other developed countries, and how we can bring that same impact to the African space. So currently what we are doing is we are creating contents, experimenting with new ideas, and also creating awareness to the community, and especially to the youth, who can understand and see this technology as impactful for their lives. Because even the talent need is also, it has some issues. So we have to have a lot of talents behind VR content creators. So we partner up with a lot of companies. We work with different African startups who engage in this area, and we try to give more contents. But we are planning to deploy our contents in airports, parks. So maybe targeting foreign transits who came to the country, but they got only less time to stay.
And visit all the parts, and
Yeah.
the whole of Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Tell me, how has the market received, your product?
Since we target mostly business and the government, we have like selected entities who are interested on our contents, but we are planning to launch a new project for the consumer,
Yeah.
which will be accessed through the website. That way, I guess people will see it like a good thing. But in general, we get a lot of good support from the community, especially from the diaspora, because they want to see more of their history and their contents from from their country. So that's like how we are trying to create. When you come to like businesses, they are from saying like no, now they are dependent, like fully dependent on the technology, because the power of VR is not only about VR. The technologies we use could also be used in the entertainment industry. So we highly like engage with the event organizers, production companies, and currently almost with all tourism bureaus we are working. So I think we are in that progress.
So tell me, I understand you're the technical guy, but could you just take me through the whole process of how everything happens from creation of content up to, the consumer having the content?
So first, I think we have to come up with the idea. So which story would fit, and is it in our plan, and maybe is it a good time to work on this kind of project? So that's like, it needs a discussion with the team, and sometimes it might be requested from another business, another entity.
Mm-hmm.
So we have partners, and these partners help us through like creating the story properly, because as a company, what we do is we are content creators, but the way we do things and the way we communicate with other historians should be handled by those partners we have, and they are the one who will come up with the story, and who will just assign the right people behind the story narration and everything. So sometimes we build a virtual museum, so we might need to have access to all those artifacts, which needs legal process and approvals from the government side. So we go through all that, and we do the technical thing. If it is an artifact, we have our equipments, we photo scan each and every artifact, and we generate a 3D version of that artifact in a photorealistic way, which means it's like you can't distinguish whether it's like a virtual or not. It has high quality textures. That's how we do, and we use Unreal Engine. It's like one of our main technology behind our VR contents. Mm-hmm. It's the powerful gaming engine all over the world, and we use it to create all of our VR contents. So we create the level design. When I say the level design, you will be like the god behind all the VR space. So you create the environment, the lighting, the rooms, and all the physics and simulation. So it becomes realistically, you will clone that space, and we have VR headset. So the headsets will allow you to fully immerse in the game content that we create.
What do you intend to achieve in the next 5 to 10 years?
We are looking to have a branch outside of Ethiopia, which will be like to attract more of these companies, especially if you stay in Africa, more or less we don't get that much of projects, and now we are looking to go maybe to Dubai.
Wait, I thought you were in Dubai just the other day.
Yeah, we've been visiting.
Tell me, what were you doing? What were you up to?
Yeah, we attended the GITEX 2022 event, and that's why we are, I think we need to move and have a branch there. It's like Dubai is becoming the next Metaverse hub, and they are investing huge amount of money and huge resource to the startups engaging in this VR space. So that's what we witnessed, and as we are a selected delegation from the Ethiopia, we tried like looking for collaborations and all this engagement with different companies. So basically there is a big appetite in this industry, so why not we move there and create maybe a new job opportunities for our team and maybe a new employees that we might have in the future. So in the next 5 years, our motto is like to be the pioneers and be the leading VR company in Africa. So that's what we are targeting. In the next 5 years, we will target that.
Could you explain to me the feeling, someone gets when they consume your content?
I mean, the first thing they will see is if it is their first time, excitement is like the first thing. So they got excited. Small things might even excite you because we get used to this flat screen based experience.
Yes.
Maybe your smartphone or your laptop, you have a fixed sized window, so you access everything through that. But when you have this headset and when you are trying to see any contents, if you move your head, when you walk, you feel like you are part of the digital space. So that feeling itself is powerful, and you can add what we can create as a content. You will have an engagement with the 3D artifacts. You can grab items. You might even talk. You can discuss. You can meet up. So all these things will give you an immersive feeling of that place. So you feel like you are part of the story. And imagine if we take you back to 400-300 years ago and show you some historical scene or any incident, and that give you it's good.
What challenges have you guys faced? Because this is a totally new kind of creative venture to look into.
So the biggest challenge was, I think I can start from the awareness, because if you are not aware of the power of the technology, you might see the technology so weak, or as an investor, you might tend not to see it as a big business opportunity. That's why we are trying to give away, okay, this is the power and this is what others are doing. And we are trying to compare their technology and their contents with ours. So the awareness thing was like a big deal. It starts from our family, because they think we are doing some kind of
magic.
It's like magic and a waste of time at the same time, because you guys should focus on something else. Maybe it could be building apps. If you see the current market in Africa in general, the mobile market is now like growing, especially in the fintech industry. If you come to Addis, the fintech industry is now it's growing, but VR is still on the early stages. And as a company, we are targeting, okay, this is the right time for Africa, because we don't want to start after 10 years. If we cope up with the developed countries, we have like common understanding of the technology and creating the content, and maybe we could have also a way to partner up with big companies and work locally and create more jobs. So in order to just convince this to the investors, it was so challenging. And that's why we managed like to focus only on the creating contents for like maybe 4 years or 5 years. But we get big recognitions from different entities, and that helped us to be like noticeable on the market, especially in different Africas.
They make you feel proud, recognized.
So that's a big thing, because there are different scenarios where we were like, I think this thing doesn't work and we should quit. And you have these frustrations and stress, but all those kind of support you get from other companies and these big entities like Epic Games. We won a grant 2 years ago.
Congratulations.
And that is like one of the biggest achievements we had. And we went to a lot of events. In one of our content was also nominated at Level Virtual in France. And all those achievements were like, it's good encouragement to our content creation. But the second biggest problem for us is the finance, because if we don't still have an investor, we are like pushing the company out of like our own efforts. But that's why Dubai is like our next destination. There are a lot of investors, there are a lot of opportunities you get even from the government, because the government subsidizes most of the tech ecosystem. So that's like one big opportunity we are seeing. So this challenge are like limiting us not to go with our full power, but I think it will be resolved in the next few months. Yeah,
I hope so too. Let's talk about the history that you guys were hoping to bring to Ethiopian classrooms, you know, to those children in those schools going through a boring history class like I had. Yeah, what inspired you to think about the children of this country?
Our future depends on our children. So if we are not looking for new ways, new technologies to pass our history, it won't be good, especially as an African and as an Ethiopian who is like more attached with cultural and spiritual things. So if we have a means of technology to pass our history to the next generation, why not we apply VR? Because we can target, there are a lot of books written and there are a lot of videos, but these days even the attention span time is not as we expect. They might give you maybe less than a minute to watch any content they like. So that itself will create a lot of gap, and if you are like targeting your future generation to be a good one, we have to find a way, and that's like how we trying to recreate every culture and histories of Ethiopia in a virtual space.
What do you think is that Ethiopian history that the new generation would miss out and you think would be nice to be preserved by you guys? Everything about Ethiopia. Even we don't just consider our histories are good or bad. That judgment is, we left it for everyone, but everything should be kept properly, and everybody deserves to know about our past history and everything, because I know I'm a proud Ethiopian, and what I know about Ethiopia is everything is about Ethiopia is good. So I want to create that personally and to pass it to the next generation, because it's not about us creating the content, but there are big companies, big gaming companies who are using Ethiopian histories and selling it to their own needs without even a royalty fee. Yeah. So why not Africa is benefiting all this advantage? So we have the talents, we have the resource, we have this story. I mean, it's not even a fictitious story, it's already happened. So why not we digitalize and make it in VR, or it could be in computer games, whatever we name it, but we can publish it to the world so that we can have a portion of that space. Because gaming and entertainment nowadays, it is a huge market. They got nearly billions of dollars. I can name maybe 40-50 billions of dollars in a year. So as an African, how much of this do we own? So we are like targeting to that extent. What is it about VR specifically that you think, you know, would be the best medium to use to communicate to your audience?
Like we are a Metaverse company, so we are seeing Africa in the Metaverse. So when you say Metaverse, most people, they expect a new platform or they expect a device that's called Metaverse. Mm-hmm. But we are creating our own Metaverse that has its own histories, its own cultures, and also engagements. So we can create our own space in our own culture. So we don't necessarily be dependent on other cultures or other technologies. But if we have a means, why not we use it like for our own use and let others to visit and experience it? So that's like our main vision.
I think I've seen the story of Adwa, is it? Yeah, besides that, tell me what else have you guys been able to create?
Yeah, thankfully after we get the grant from Epic Games, the first project was the story behind Adwa. And we announced 4 projects during that time, so that was the first one.
Someone who doesn't understand Adwa, just give them an overview of what it is.
I mean, it's an African freedom war, we call it that way, but during colonization, like Ethiopia was like the only country in Africa that was never been colonized. So it was
due to this battle called Adwa, which is now a symbol of African freedom. So we are trying to pass that energy, that good and patriotic story to the future generation. What we did for Adwa was only to create the story behind the main battle, which was there are two other battles before Adwa, and how this colonization and that thinking was during that time. So it's just like a storytelling kind of project. But the future that we are working on currently is the Battle of Adwa. You would be like one of the warriors of Adwa, and you be part of the battle itself. So you find your freedom through the battle. That's like the next project we are working on. But like 2 years ago, when we announced these 4 projects, the second one is the Caves of Sof Umar, and it's located in Bale Zone, Oromia. So it's one of the longest caves found in Africa, and we try to create a boat experience through the cave. So that's like the second project. The third one is the Tiya stones. So they are one of like ancient artifacts located in I think it's in somewhere around southern region of Ethiopia. And the fourth project is there is an armory site during Adwa, so it's named Koramash. So we want to create that space and have it like to create the feeling of the past. So that's how we.
So in the Battle of Adwa, someone will be using having the VR on, and they'll also be hitting, fighting, or what?
Yeah.
Or using the controller.
Using the motion controllers. Yeah.
Wow, I can't wait to have a look at that. Do you have anything that you could give me to go and watch by myself?
No, it's currently we don't have a public apps.
Oh yeah.
Everything is like in our studio, and we only let visitors maybe or show it on certain events. But we will be publishing starting from 2023.
Next year?
Yeah.
Okay.
We will be publishing. There are a lot of experiences like the Damara experience, Irecha experience. Almost we already built 10 VR projects. So selectively we will push like few of our projects to the public so you might find it on Oculus Store or Steam VR.
So tell me, Daniel, how do you make your content accessible to any ordinary person? Because you've showed me a lot of stuff and a lot of material that you guys have. How do you make that accessible?
Yeah, so the plan is to put all these contents into stores. There are Oculus Store, Steam Store, so you would have access to download all of our contents and experience it anywhere. That's our plan.
Okay, great. And what has been the impact that you guys have created to the society, to the community with all of these, kind of creativity?
Yeah, it shows like we have also the technology to keep our history and pass it to the future generation. So the only thing we are seeing currently is VR. And through the power of VR, we will teach and promote our country and Africa to the rest of the world.
Are people excited about VR?
Yeah, excited every time because most people these days, they like technology and new stuff, especially VR.
It's okay. Thank you so much for your time, Daniel. I really appreciate you creating time for us today.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good day. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you for watching Globe Traktion with me, Pasil Telewa. What did you learn about today's feature? Leave us your comments on our social media pages at Globe Traktion or at Pasil Telewa, or better still, at KTN News KA. Write to us through globetraction@standardmedia.co.ke if you have any story that you think has a global impact. I hope to catch up with you again next week, same time, same place, as I bring you backstories of people on the global